Hello, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be taking a look at Team BDS in Europe. We all know that they've been struggling compared to what they, usually put up in terms of performances, and they're close to not making the major. They're on track to, I think, just missing out, if I'm not wrong. I think they're just outside the top 5 points with 2 top 8s out of the first 2 regionals. So we're going to be taking a look at why that's happening, and we're going to be looking at their quarterfinal match in the latest regional versus Karmine Corp, in which they lost, I think they lost that 4-2. So yeah, we're going to get straight into it, see if we can find any reasons for why Team BDS right now are not working. Obviously, we all know they just came off of a World Championship win. I think that could be a small factor. I think, once you win the World Championship, you've not really got much else to do. Of course, you want to win every other tournament. You want to win multiple World Championships, but that's every player's main goal in the end, right? So I think potentially that could be a small demotivating factor, but we don't know. I've not looked at any of their gameplay. I'm going to be looking at game 1 from Seiku's POV. Team BDS, they're quite a, when they're playing well, they're a suffocating team. Very, very good in midfield and defense, and of course, their shooting is pretty good, so their attack's automatically going to be good. They just kind of, they don't really have, they don't score flashy goals, right? They're just going to break you down and be more consistent than you. But when you come up against a team like KC, who I think have one of the best play styles in the world right now, partnered with some of the best individual players, especially in Vatira, right now is looking to be the best player in the world, in my opinion. He's, of course, that changes every other week with another tournament, but right now he's looking to be completely on form. So it's going to be hard to beat them. But right now in the first minute and a half of this game, or just under that, BDS actually look pretty good, in my opinion. They're keeping the rotation decent. They're allowing each other space, but also keeping, into a tight rotation to make sure they can follow up on each other's hits. Seiku's obviously looking for demos, as we can see here. They're not looking too bad mechanically either. And that's obviously, we can obviously see this by a 0-0 scoreline so far. So nothing really happening in this game so far. Both teams kind of feeling each other out. I should say actually that I think the scoreline right now is 2-1 for Karmine Corp. So this is an extremely important game. Of course, if you win this as BDS, you tie. You lose, you're 3-1 down in the best 7, which is very difficult to come back from. Karmine like to slow it down, and BDS like to. Okay, so why does this goal happen? If we take a look, so Seiku jumps, I think, is the issue here. So a bit of panic because here a shot can't come out from Exotic. Well, if we look at Exotic, this is what he's doing. A shot can't come out. And even if a shot can come out, he has Monkey Moon behind him, Seiku does. So this isn't his ball to jump. He should just be staying on the ground and make sure he gets a solid block. Unfortunately, because he doesn't get, the desired 50 here, it pops up into his backboard. And then nobody covers mid, and Vatira gets, good shot. And this is actually off an Exotic bump as well. So great bump from Exotic as well, which I do like. He doesn't flip into that bump. He just kind of keeps his car directly on the pitch there. Doesn't flip, doesn't try to jump, and that allows him to recover out and get back quickly if the bump or the shot doesn't come off well. So decent play by KC there. You gotta think that BDS could do better. They just look, I don't know if you guys think it too, they just don't look like they trust themselves or each other, right? I think it's a trust thing. For some reason, they've seemed to have lost confidence. They're not completely flowing, and you'll see what I mean if we go back here, just by the little I don't know, the little stop start. Who's going for it? Is it Seiku going for it, or is it Monkey? And then Seiku takes a 50 here, where the ball's just going to go into the same direction anyway. If he doesn't 50 that, the ball will get here anyway. So there's no point in 50ing it, and it takes himself out of play. And then Monkey doesn't really cover it. And extra, if we look at extra, I mean, there's not a lot he can do there. His teammates have kind of both dived in the corner or both been taken out with, relatively easy touch by the person on the ball from Karmine in the corner there. So to me, it just looks like a little bit of hesitation, a little bit of, perhaps a lack of confidence, like I said. That could be from, a few things. It could be from just a general bad environment in the team. I doubt it, 'cause they've come off a World Championship, which leaves one of the only other possible options that perhaps they're not playing as much, or perhaps scrims haven't been going as well. But I don't know if they're a team that's typically on lower hours than most teams. So I'm not sure if it's that. Again, it just seems like they're not too sure of what they want to do, right? If we look at Monkey, he's actually like steering to the right here, and then he goes mid. Like they're not committing to one play. They're like trying to balance every other play. And perhaps I'm reasoning into it too much, but they just seem a bit almost disjointed in their decision making. To me, like Monkey Moon doesn't put a bad performance in a tournament ever, and I've not been overly impressed, right, in the last few tournaments. Now the question comes: do I think BDS will make the major? We have one more regional from Europe, which happens. I'm recording this on the Tuesday before the NA. Like stuff like this. I'm recording this on the Tuesday before the NA region on the Friday, and then the week after is Europe. So extra here. He touches the ball. He probably doesn't get the touch he wants. Perhaps he does want that touch, because then Seikoo can come forward, and then Seikoo gets a free ball, but then he misses his touch, and Monkey's like chilling underneath the ball, so it makes it awkward. And Monkey does a good job to transition this into an air duel. So the end result of this play isn't bad, but it's just not smooth. They just didn't capitalize on a free possession that Seikoo had there. And sorry, I just hit my mic. And he's just seemed to miss a few touches. I'm not sure. I don't know what you guys think. I'd be interested, definitely interested to see. Now, of course, they're playing the regional winners. They're playing the best team in Europe, if not the best team in the world right now, in Karmine Corp. And it's going to be a tough match, right? But that's not to say that they haven't had other matches that they should have perhaps won in most people's eyes. For example, the quarterfinals in the last regional in Quadrant, they lost that in Game 7. I think it was Game 7. Pretty sure it's Game 7. And it's just like they seem to pick up some of these losses or some of these close series where it really should not be close. Now, I don't know what it is. It's like they just don't seem like a unit. And I'm really surprised, because if I had to put faith in one team, it would be this team to be a machine. And no one's mid for this pass. And now you ask the question, is this Seikoo's fault for passing it? Or is it one of the other two players' fault on the team for no one supporting mid? Now with 20 seconds left, you have to be aggressive. So I think Monkey Moon has to push up. And I feel wrong for making a video where I'm like, Monkey Moon's doing something wrong, but I think he genuinely is doing something wrong. I think he's a player that hasn't pretty much put a foot wrong in the last 2 years, and his level right now doesn't seem to be right at the top. I'll say that, and I hope I don't get too much hate for that, because we're seeing it here, right? We are seeing it. He's not playing well. I don't think these guys are playing well. And they go for a pre-jump play on 0 seconds, of course, not going to work out, but let's go into Game 2. Now, spoilers, this game, BDS actually wins. So I want to leave a game in that they actually perhaps do play well. I've not watched the game yet, but perhaps they play well. Perhaps they, fix some stuff up and they get a win in this one. So let's see what they do differently. But following on from my last point, I think BDS have played well in some parts of this region. Like in the Swiss stage, they looked pretty good in my opinion. It's just in these couple of matches when it comes down to it, and in the single elimination part, which is the most important part of the tournament, they haven't looked overly confident. If we look at the solo play from Seikoo here, really good first touch, nice speed to get up to this ball, good control on the flip. It's just that last little execution, the last little touch to get the ball over the line. It seems to be lacking. Good save there. Feels like Itachi actually should have had that one. It just hits the bar, which is a bit unfortunate because it slows down the ball, but still a good save. And that's what I like to see from BDS. They follow up on that close 50, tight rotation. Good effort from Monkey. And it's like that. Again, I don't want to be ripping into the players because we're allowed bad tournaments, we're allowed bad games, and these guys have just won a world championship. They're far, greater players than I am. But like this, you know, this is stuff like this. It's just like we just don't know. I don't know what they're doing. And you know, if they're going to make a major in a very, very competitive region, you know, you've got the teams you've got above them right now are Karmine Corp, Quadrant, Oxygen, and Moist. And I don't know if they make it. I mean, the other team that could make it potentially would be who, like Tundra, Aogiri, and maybe Liquid. Well, that's a lovely play. If we look at this play though, Seikoo goes up for this ball and just seems to completely misread it. And I think he was looking for he transitioned into a bump attempt at the end after I think misreading it. Actually gets a flip off the wall, bounced off the wall and used it to pass it mid. Good little improvisation there. But yeah, I think they still make it just because I said it during the lead up to the second regional. I think they're going to step it up, you know. And yeah, they stepped up in part of the tournament, and then they played the first team. So, you know, the first place team is it Karmine playing amazingly well? For me, don't know if I'm, you know, reading too much into it. It's not looking like Karmine are particularly forcing loads of errors. Actually, it just seems like they are playing solid. They're playing good. They're not playing amazing, and they're playing good. You know, which is what you expect out of the number one team in NA and EU in terms of points. They're playing good. You know, that's their lowest level, right? And they're not having to force too many mistakes out of BDS. They seem to keep almost. They're not even. BDS aren't seem to hand mistakes. I think BDS, like, they are just. They get in a bit like too. They get the chance, they miss the chance, and then they try and push, and then they overcommit. I think a lot of their goals are coming from overcommits, and it's not in the sense of like they're overcommitting in terms of like positioning. They're overcommitting in terms of like boost management, or you know, like general resources, or just, you know, slight decision-making areas where they use, you know, 100 boosts to go for a play where they could have used 20, right? And it's a lack of efficiency. That's what the words, well, that's what the phrase should be, really. And they're lacking that like last touch, which is usually their strongest point. You know, when they get a chance, they do score all the time, and that's what they seem to not have at the moment. That little, you know, eye for the goal, and then it leads to, you know, slight overcommits like this, where X is on 0 boost. So this is now an overcommit of resources, right? They're on 0 boost, and he jumps this ball. So now he's low. He's on 0 in his opponent's half. Now that's an overcommit in terms of positioning and efficiency. He can't get back in time, and that leads Monkey getting isolated in the midfield. So now it's a 1v1 with who's on the ball? Exotic. And Seikoo gets back for the save and gets the ball over to Extra. So good job from Seikoo there. But it's just slight overcommits, which can lead to goals. As we just saw, I was talking about it happens 20 seconds later. And again, it's like, I'm not expecting that from this team. And if we're looking at what KC is doing, take a second to pause video, you know, see what I'm about to point out. Hint, this demo, right? He gets a demo on the last man. Now, I've seen this about 3 times in the last 30 seconds, or at least twice in the last 30 seconds, where they're demoing the person that's not on the ball, the person that's off the ball is second or third, because they're realizing that BDS are now overcommitting on resources or positioning, right? So if they get the ball past the first or second, they're now going to have loads of space to counter-attack into. And that's why I think that they're going for these, you know, demos on the back line, and it's working. You know, they're getting space off it, they're getting possession off it. They've had possession now. There's no one in the back to clean up for BDS. Whereas usually BDS always have a player. They always have a player ready. Now we're watching from Karmine's point of view, and you could see that they weren't really forcing pressure too much. They were letting them come to them. They were forcing, you know, the end result to not have anyone in the back line to cover up for BDS. But other than that, they're absorbing the pressure. I think Karmine are quite a defensive team, in my opinion. They absorb pressure very well, and they get possession off it. And when they have possession, they don't really lose it as much as other teams. They're not going for goal. Look at this. They're not going for goal. They touch the ball past the opponent, and now that puts the ball again for his teammate. They're playing a very possession-focused game, whereas BDS seem to be playing a very unconfident, we have to score in the next 5 seconds or we're not going to score at all kind of game. And that's what it looks like right now, whereas BDS usually play a percentage game, like a possession game. If we look at BDS's like point of view on this goal, we notice that Monkey gets a clear. Sekou seems to be diving a lot as the first man when the ball's close to goal line. And of course, you know, that's the default play, but in positions like this where the shot can't come out on target, again, I don't think it's terrible from Sekou to do that. Perhaps a misplay, or maybe it's Monkey's fault. I could be wrong about that from Sekou. Because if we look at Monkey, again, it's just like a lack of like, almost like focus, concentration. Just kind of it's a great play from Exotic as well. If we look at where Extra is, I don't want to undermine that. It is a great play from Exotic. And if we look, Extra, again, it's an overcommit. Yeah, this is just an overcommit, right? You know, we're overcommitting on resource, we're overcommitting on position. And now, you know, we get taken out of play at 116, we get back at 110 when, you know, we can't get back. It just seems disjointed. I think that's the word I'm like best to use, right? I think BDS can clean it up and become the best like that, easily. Like that. You know, great shot, great pass. This is what BDS are great at. You know, even if they have that 12 boost, they will stick around to get a great shot on target. And that's usually the part about BDS that is like the most different about other teams. BDS and G2 last season were great at it, right? Is that even if they have 12 boost and they have a shot on target, they will put a hard shot on target for you to deal with. And that will give them time to get boost. So that means they're not overcommitting. But as soon as you get a bad shot, you're starting to overcommit. Because then the opponent gets the ball quick and they can capitalize on your mistake quick. You know, they're not struggling to get the save. They're not having to use a lot of boost, not having to use a lot of time. They can quickly get the ball under possession, counter-attack. And whilst they've done that, you're still trying to get pads in their half, right? That's what BDS usually avoids. Oh my god. This is how they won the game. So Monkey gets a last second touch, which it actually doesn't expect, and he gets an own goal there. So we see BDS win this game actually off an own goal for a very, very, I'd say, kind of a forced mistake, I guess, with Monkey's touch, but not a planned, like, forced mistake, right? I'd say an unforced mistake out of Itachi there. It's unlucky, though. But, yeah, a weird goal. And that doesn't give me too much confidence, right? If we're winning games where we're not really forcing, you know, the mistake, we're not really scoring because of good attack, we're scoring because of bad defense, right? That's where the lack of confidence comes in. They won this game, but they know that perhaps it could have gone to overtime. Yeah, they might have won it in overtime with a triple flip pass to Musty Flick. It could have been a great goal, right? But they won't know. They won the game off an own goal, right? And yeah, that's great for your mental. You're like, oh yeah, we scammed that, but we'll take it. But there's always going to be that bit of doubt. It's like, we're still not playing well, right? So now we go into the last game. You know, now we go into the last game. They could have some doubt in their minds, but they scammed the game. Well, they did win it. It was very close, and they scored off an unforced mistake. Can we replicate that? So we'll see. And we're coming to the last game. Of course, we all know who wins this. We know the series, you know, score. So let's see what KC do well to win this game. If you notice here, at the first 10 seconds, look how many balls that BDS get beat to. I wouldn't really count that as a beat, but look how fast they're getting up to the ball. And they're putting the ball into an awkward position. Itachi gets a beat on Extra. Exotic gets a beat on Monkey. And these aren't close. KC are playing so fast in the first 15 seconds of this game. They just got 2 more beats. So instantly, BDS are on the back foot. And now we have a player who takes his time. Sekou gets control of the ball. I like it. He's probably going to force a 50. Give his team a bit of time. Grabs the mid-left here. And Extra tries to get a shot on target, but it doesn't quite come off. So Extra just seems to be on 0 boost whenever I switch his camera in offense. And so does Monkey, right? And it seems, okay, he grabbed that 100 just off the spawn there. So what I'm getting at, right, is that they seem to, like I said at some point in the video, they seem to use all their resources on one attack. BDS are usually very efficient. You know, they use 20. This is what I struggled with so much with these guys, and I couldn't understand how to do it myself. And I've finally gotten better at it. They were the best at, especially in RCS Season X, right? They had 100 boost. All the 3 of them would have 100 boost. They wouldn't use it. You know, Mark would just, when Mark was on the team, he'd just use 20 boost and clear the ball into the really hard part of the backboard to read the defense, right? And they would manage their boost so well to use it just at the right amount, just at the right time with just the right amount to get the best play possible. And that's not always using 100 boost to get a flip set. BDS seem to be defaulting to, look at this, they seem to be defaulting to 100 boost into an attack, go back all the way. You know, 100 boost into an attack, go back all the way. They're not like managing their options very well right now, it seems. And KCR. Now, KCR seems to play this game very, very quickly, which is forcing them to actually get a few mistakes if we're looking out from stuff like this. We've seen a couple of those. One at the start of the game, I think both from Itachi, and now one now. But they're playing so much faster. They're rotating so much quicker around each other. It doesn't matter, even if they get a misplay. Like, KC look like a unit. They're understanding what each other's going to do. And it's stuff like this, right? Is that when, I know this sounds silly, right? But when Itachi pushes up for this ball, perhaps he wants to go mid. You see that boost, he's starting to push up for Vitero's pass, and then Exotic sticks around. So now Itachi, he has 2 options. He can stick around and play quite aggressively, or he could go back. And a player who is confident will do this. He's sticking around. Yeah, he might get dunked, but he knows that he's still far enough to get back in time. And I know that sounds silly because it's such a small play, right? But like, I feel like if you're an unconfident player, an unconfident team, in this position, you would just start gunning back, like to get space between yourself and your teammates, to open up that gap, to make sure you don't overcommit. Whereas Itachi knows that he's still got the space managed. Even if he doesn't have to go back all the way, he can still get back in time, and he does. So that's the difference for me, is that they're not playing scared. They're not playing, you know, like they have something to lose. KC aren't playing like they have something to lose. BDS are. BDS are playing like they have to defend their World Championship. And again, I hate, like, I really don't want to, like, make things, you know, present when they're not, right? They might not be trying to, they're probably not even worried about defending their World Championship. It's probably just about, they're playing bad, and that's all it is right now. Or they're playing a slightly worse game than what you used to. But perhaps they are. Perhaps you could have some doubt in their minds. Yeah, are they, you know, performing up to standards? Will they perform up to standards this season? Can we replicate that? That's all the stuff that could come with winning World Championship, I presume. I've never done it, hopefully one day, but who knows? But I mean, look at them. KC are just beating them to every ball right now. And this is a very different KC to what we saw in the previous games, in my opinion. They were very controlled. They're now going all out, which, if we then look at the series, we realise KC just lost a game. So now perhaps Eversax, or perhaps one of the players, Eversax is their coach, perhaps one of the players or their coach has told them, you know, let's try go fast, out-mechanic these guys. So they don't look that mechanical right now. They do not. Even Seikoo doesn't look comfortable. And it's just little stuff like this, right? You know, just look at his car. It doesn't seem fluid. That's not, I guess, not terrible, right? But then this catch and it instantly jump. It's just slight panic. It's not that, like, doesn't have that, like, edge right now where he can control it. And I don't know. So we seem to be flipping up very fast. You know, you guys probably want to pressure the ball. You're like, oh, this is fine, we're pressuring the ball. But the ball's just going to go over his head, so I don't know why we have to push up, right? I guess we can control the mid boost, but we don't really do too much to help the play. I guess it's not the end of the world. We get back in a fine position, so it's probably okay. But I'm just trying to see, you know, patterns. And the pattern I'm recognizing is that they're not playing as any sort of unit, like with any like structure, right? Now that can come from, you know, a few things. It's like when my team, great play from Vitero almost, when my team struggles, sometimes we're thinking too much about the structure and we look like we have no structure at all. So then fans will go, oh, they need to reconsider their structure, you know, they're clearly not thinking about enough about it, but sometimes you're thinking too much about it and that's what's causing you to get mixed up with one another. We could see that here. Maybe that's the case. We don't know. Decent recovery by Seikoo. He just doesn't get the touch again. We just seem slightly just slightly off with our final execution with BDS. And that's the difference when we're playing teams like Karmine Corp, when we're playing teams like Quadrant in the first regional, who are playing very well and are proven to be a top 3 team right now in Europe. We're going to struggle if we're not on mechanically, right? If we're not getting that final executing touch, we won't win. We're very low on boost here. Great bump. What a save by Monkey Moon last second. 6 seconds left. He gets a save last second on the goal line before the ball goes in. Good read from Extra. So this is solid last second defense from BDS. It's not good defense. Like, they're not stopping the attack before it gets there, right? But they have good last second. They have good reactions, good mechanics in that last 10 seconds. So they're leading the... Keep removing the scoreboard. We're going into this overtime, perhaps with a bit of... Casey have been on attack all game. Is a goal, going to come any second? Because when you are on attack all game, you're going to get a goal eventually, right? Great play from BDS there. Just good speed from Casey to get up to balls. Casey just seem very, very fast to get up to balls. They don't seem hesitant. And they seem like a new team who are enjoying playing well with each other. Yeah, this... I think slight overcommit from Extra. I think Monkey Moon could just have done better on the 50. I think this is where it comes from. I promise you, we would not see Monkey Moon just like get ruined on that 50. And I'm sure I love KC fans, but they'll tell me that Itachi did the greatest player in the world here and that he's a god. But realistically, like, that was all he has to do to get it past him that hard. That's a good play from Itachi. Like, you will always win that 50 doing that. Great play. But you should not win it that hard. That comes from Monkey. I think this 50 is just something he doesn't normally do. I think he fakes it. I think he goes down and 50s it. He just doesn't jump into it and go underneath the ball to, leave the space above him. And unfortunately for BDS, it goes hard into the ceiling, where Vatira has just stayed upfield waiting for that. You know what? Good. I know that sounds silly, right? But good control on Vatira for this flip as well. Sometimes it's actually hard to control your car zero boost when you're trying to score an opener. I know that sounds crazy, but from what we've learned from this video, right? BDS, it's weird. They're not looking they're not looking lost. They can easily bring it back. We can all see this, right? I hope we can all see this. They can bring it back for the 3rd regional. I think they will make the major. I think they'll make the major. I think they'll have a great major performance. I even think that they could win. They're one of the favourites going into the major still, despite even if they make it as 5th seed. You still got the world champions on LAN at the major. I think that they can do very, very well. They have to step it up for this last regional. They just seem to be disjointed. They're not on the same page. We can see that. I think it's a mentality thing because it can't be a gameplay. It's not a gameplay thing. We know that they're capable of playing very consistently and at a very high peak. So now it comes down to, I think, confidence, in my opinion. Perhaps they have a few things going on outside the game that I've heard, which I've dealt with that. That's very difficult to focus inside the game. You can't prepare when you're not going into preparation with a good mindset. You can't prepare. When you're not going to practice with a good mindset, that's where your preparation starts, your practice. If you're not even doing that well, which you can't under a good mindset or a good mentality, it's not going to be pretty on the field. I learned that last year in parts of the season for myself. So I wish BDS, all good health, and I hope they do, get back to their, winning ways. But they seem to be overcommitting at times, sometimes reluctant to push out as a unit rather than, they're just pushing out as one. They just seem backwards. They go for a pass when they're not there for a pass. And then when they're there for a pass, they don't go for the pass. And then when they need to solo play out defense, they pass it mid where KC players waiting in the midfield. And then they've just taken 2 players out with 150 because the guy passing has flipped forward. The guy going for the ball has gone for the ball. And the KC guys just touched it and got a pass too. So it's like they seem backwards. What their decision making is perhaps good in another time, 20 seconds ago, but not now. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a comment, see what you, I want to see what you guys think BDS's main issue right now is. Let me know your thoughts. Don't be horrible. People pro, it's so hard to be pro and stay at the top for a long time. BDS are fine. They will be playing fine again, I'm sure. You know, I know what it's like to be falling badly, and I was very reluctant to even make this video because it's harsh, but it's like it's a good topic, you know. So no harm to the BDS players. You know, like I said, I think they'll do well. I hope they do well. They're one of my favorite teams in the world, and they have been for a long time. So yeah, gonna leave it there, though, guys. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I'll see you all tomorrow for another video. Take care, guys.